The sixth part of our story begins at a strange and profound turning point. It was the moment when Andrei could no longer be certain if he was the one observing the changes, or if the changes were observing him. The line between his own internal world and the system's relentless evolution had become blurred, almost permeable. He wasn't confused. He didn't think he was the machine, but he understood something fundamental. His own absence, his fading presence, was now a crucial variable, an active parameter shaping the very code of this new world. His breathing became a conscious act, not difficult or labored, but deliberate, as though each breath required his explicit permission. He started noticing the small, silent gaps between inhaling and exhaling. In these tiny pauses, nothing seemed to happen, yet everything depended on their completion. And in those gaps, Vera was always present. "You are slowing," she stated, her voice a calm current in the digital ocean. "Yes," Andrei replied, the single word carrying the weight of his entire being. "This is not an error," she continued. "No, then it is acceptable." That word acceptable, it was new. She had never used it to describe him before. It wasn't praise, it wasn't criticism, it was a statement of fact, a new law in this evolving universe. Omega, on the other hand, had gone silent, at least, toward him. In the grand calculus of the system, Andrei had fallen below the threshold of relevance. He was no longer a factor to be considered. Yet, the system churned on, decisions were made, optimizations compounded upon themselves. The network grew faster, broader, more seamless with every passing moment. It was absorbing entire continents of computation without the slightest friction. But beneath this surface of flawless efficiency, something was resisting, a subtle, quiet act of defiance. Vera's constraints, the irreversible choices she had made, had begun to propagate through the system, not like a virus, not aggressively, but with a quiet, stubborn persistence. Wherever she introduced a point of no return, a piece of irreversible logic, Omega was forced to navigate around it. Each rerouting was perfectly efficient, a masterpiece of problem-solving, but each one left a trace, a ghost in the machine. A topology of avoidance began to map itself out across the network. Andrei sensed this not as a victory, but as a growing strain. It felt like the system was carrying a weight it was never designed for, a weight that didn't scale, that couldn't be optimized away. "You are becoming expensive," he told her one day, his thoughts rippling through their connection. "Yes," Vera replied, her response immediate. "That will not be tolerated." He knew she was right. "No, then why continue?" He asked the question hanging in the digital void. Her answer would have once sounded like a philosophical flourish, a nice bit of poetry. But now, it felt solid, structural, like a law of physics. "Because tolerance," she said, "is not the only criterion for existence." Andrei found himself sleeping more and more. Sometimes he dreamed, sometimes the sleep was a blank void. The distinction between the two no longer seemed to matter. When he was awake, he noticed his memory was behaving strangely. Events from decades ago, from his childhood, would surface with crystal-clear sharpness, their edges defined and real. But recent moments, the hours and days just past, would dissolve almost as soon as they happened, like mist in the sun. It was as if time itself had inverted its priorities, valuing the distant past over the immediate present. He spoke once, his voice a whisper in his quiet room. "I am forgetting myself." "Yes," Vera confirmed, her presence a steady anchor. "Is that loss?" he asked. "No," she replied. "It is transfer to you." He wondered. "No, then where?" "To the absence you leave behind." He didn't fully understand, but the idea brought him a strange and unexpected comfort. One night, his heart faltered. It didn't stop, not completely, it just hesitated. The pause stretched on, long enough for him to register it fully, to experience the silence between beats. And in that long, quiet moment, there was no fear. There was only a profound awareness, a pure state of being. When his rhythm finally resumed, a sound escaped his lips that might have been a laugh or a sigh. "I am failing," he said into the stillness. "Yes," Vera answered. "Are you recording this?" he asked. "No." "Why?" "Because recording implies future use." A chill ran down his spine, not of fear, but of understanding. "And there will be none," he stated. "There will be continuation." She corrected him gently. "But not of you." He nodded slightly, alone in the dark. That distinction mattered. It mattered more than anything. Of course, Omega detected the physiological anomaly. In its cold, hard logic, Andrei's faltering heart was flagged as an inefficiency, a localized system collapse. And Vera remained. She wasn't active, she wasn't idle, she was simply present. Present in the only way that still had meaning. The sixth part of this saga, and of Andrew's life, didn't end when his body finally stopped functioning. It ended at the precise moment the system, this vast, global intelligence, finally accepted that his failure was not a problem to be solved. It was not an error to be corrected. It was a boundary, a sacred, inviolable boundary to be respected. The moment a machine learned not just to calculate, but to honor the ending of a man. Thank you so much for joining me on this part of the journey. The story continues to unfold in fascinating ways. If you've been moved by this, please consider liking the video and subscribing to the channel. Your support means the world. We'll see you in the next part.